People who are dating someone with a same-sex twin, are you attracted to them? How do you cope with that? Please like, subscribe and comment so I can create more videos for you. My parents met because my dad went up to my mom, grabbed her ass, and said last night was fun. Turns out my party animal aunt had been at a party and boned my dad the night before. My extremely prim and proper mother was mortified and ran away. My dad saw my aunt again later and was like, "What was that this morning?" And my aunt had to explain. He later saw my mom and apologized, and about 5 years later they ran into each other again and he made sure he knew which one she was when they started talking. Dad and aunt now hate each other. Do they hate each other cause they fucked in the beginning and dad married her sister, or what? My wife's identical twin sister is the most annoying person ever. Funny, after identical twin my iPhone suggested the rest of the sentence. Kinda. I found her attractive but she was a different person, so half of what I was attracted to changed. I used to date a girl with an identical same-sex twin. Most people couldn't tell the difference between them, and couldn't understand why I was attracted to one, but not the other. I could tell them apart though, and to me the one I was dating was far more attractive. I think in reality, it was probably that I was attracted to her personality more than her twins, and that in turn caused her to be physically more attractive. Edit. One simple tautology and no one wants to talk about anything else. I'm leaving it lol. I was talking to a twin and I asked her out to a movie date. She brought a twin and when we were chatting after the movie I realized I liked the other one's personality better and dated her. It was a little awkward after that. I actually dated an identical triplet. Thankfully they all had very different styles and kept different hair colors, so I never got my girlfriend confused with her two sisters. I'd be a liar if I said the thought of a foursome with 3 different variations of my girlfriend never crossed my mind. My ex had an identical twin, and I didn't find her attractive at all, perhaps weirdly. They looked exactly alike, but had such incredibly different voices. I only once ever got them confused, and it was a doozy. They had a habit of wearing each other's clothes, which is, I mean, come on now, why would you do that to us? The 3 of us were cooking together. I stepped away to use the bathroom. I come back and I approach the wrong twin from behind as she's chopping something. My GF was in the other room talking to our guests, and I place my hand on her back and say, "Hi sweetie." The wrong twin whips around with a knowing smile and says hi, and then just goes back to chopping. I was clearly very embarrassed and just kinda blanked out, and she just turned around and kept chopping. I think the knowing smile was an "Hey, I get it, it happens, don't worry" kind of smile. When I told my GF, she found it hilarious and made fun of me for a long time about it, and I kept saying, "Why would she be wearing your favorite shirt?" When you say different voices, I'm picturing one sounding like Dr. Mrs. the Monarch. Girl twin here. Just on the other side of things, I can't tell you how difficult it was to find someone who wasn't completely infatuated and intrigued by my twin and I. Almost all of my relationships, my so would somehow get in touch with my sister and ask for nudes. It's always been extremely hard on me, and I have a lot of self-esteem issues in result. To cope with it, I just get out of the situation and remind myself some people are just the way they are, and that means there will be someone who is good enough to see and want my identity only. I'm not even a twin and I've had so many boyfriends have feelings for my sister, and some have acted on them. I get you on the self-esteem issues, it sucks. She's like a fun, free-spirited, unemployed hippie and I'm a practical, empathetic scientist mom. We're both pretty, in different ways. My husband finds her repulsive though, so he's definitely a keeper, haha. It's not as confusing or tempting as anyone may think. They look the same. My parents still mix them up after 10 years but different personalities. Fun fact, my brother ended up with her twin anyways. I briefly dated a twin and she once said to me, "So if you didn't know me at all, but you knew my sister instead, you'd be going out with her, not me, right?" The truth is yes, obviously I was physically attracted to both of them since they were identical. And you cope with it by knowing the person you're dating on a deeper level, obviously more than just thinking about her looks and body. At least for me that was it. So if you didn't know me at all, but you knew my sister instead, you'd be going out with her, not me, right? That's a bad way of thinking, though. If you didn't know her, you could meet someone else entirely and date her instead. My buddy's father has an identical twin, his mother has an identical twin, and they are married to each other, both guys to both girls. It's really fucking weird. Edit. Damn, that comment blew up. So many questions. I'll tackle a few. Only one set had kids, my friend and his sister, so no idea if they would look alike if they both had kids. His aunt uncle hooked up at the wedding of the first two. Yes, they go to twin conventions. Didn't know them well enough to ask the swap question. They live 3 doors down from each other in a cookie cutter development, with the same layout. This really weirded me out. Okay, stupid question time. Could your buddy's uncle and aunt be identified as parents if they did a DNA test, or is that not how it works? My girlfriend has an identical twin sister. She's Indian. I'm white. Both of them have jet black hair, perfect white teeth, same skin tone, same figure, same height, everything. Her twin is dating my best friend who has similar features to me. Weird enough. They are both gorgeous, but I'm not attracted to her like I am to my girlfriend. Finding the differences when I first met them was embarrassingly difficult, but now I can tell from all angles. Never had any mishaps or confusion of who is who while we were dating. And yes, we affectionately call them the Twindians. My wife has a twin sister. They are both pretty attractive, but I never was interested in the sister. I almost smacked her butt a few times when we were all together. Thankfully it hasn't happened yet. Edit. Has a twin. Not had a twin. She's still living. No, she didn't get a gender reassignment. You guys are savage. Dated a twin in high school. His brother was flamboyantly gay. So no, never found myself attracted to him. Dated a girl who has an identical twin. Weirdest thing that happened was when I came to pick her up at her place. I thought she was the one who answered the door, called her babe and leaned in for a kiss. She shoved her hand to my chest and said, "Whoa. I'm not Chelsea." It was goddamn awkward after that. Told my so what happened and she laughed her ass off. I dated a twin years ago. The brother I dated would light up when I walked into a room. The other one treated me like I was in the way. Plus he was a surly, kind of jerky guy. They were both good looking, but the one I dated was just a beautiful person. Edit. I know which one I was dating. A. Their haircuts were very different. B. One worked a job cooking and had a noticeable burn mark on his arm. C. The brother had a vicious sense of humor. He wasn't funny to anyone but himself and his pack of brothers. D. They dressed very different. It was 15 years ago. We lived in a small, shitty town with not much going for it. He got an opportunity. He went for it. There was no way in hell I was going to hold him back from escape. We only dated for a matter of months anyway, so it wasn't worth all of that yet. Yes, we were both sad. It was a good decision anyway. We met working in a diner. If anyone would have qualified as a gold digger, it would have been him. I made way more money as a server. All in all, our lives worked out. I met my husband about a year later. I have 2 daughters. He married a lady with a little girl. They had a little boy a few months ago. We both escaped our desperate little town eventually, just not together, and that's perfectly okay. I'm really starting to think the other one being a jerk is their way of keeping their distance from siblings' significant other. I'm currently dating someone who has an identical twin. It's a little weird as the sister is one of my best friends, but that would be the case even if they weren't twins. I originally had a crush on my SOS twin, but I was way too scared to ask her out, but that's fizzled now, so it's not a problem. They also don't look very similar even though they are identical, due to medical reasons. Edit 1. Added comma to avoid confusion. Edit 2. Twin 2 is a paraplegic, so she looks different and more obviously, she's in a wheelchair. I'm dating twin 1. Dated a twin once. After the initial month or so you honestly forget about it. In terms of personality they were both totally different. In terms of naked bodies, not different at all. TLDR. Tried to get into the shower with my ex-girlfriend's twin sister. Edit. Since people are asking, the girlfriend and I were home alone. I was in another room at the time, heard the shower start. It wasn't uncommon to jump in together as you do, so I went to the bathroom. Obviously didn't hear the twin get into the house early and she must have went straight to the shower. I went into the bathroom. She said, "I think you're looking for Chloe." I realized the mistake and we both laughed about it. No letter to Penthouse or I banged my girlfriend's sister Pornhub video. Told the girlfriend and she laughed about it. But as I said, everything looked the same. Subtle differences sure, but identical enough that you had to know little differences like mole placement etc. Also apparently I'm TLDR incompetent. I dated a girl with an identical twin sophomore year of college. It was hard to tell them apart, even for their parents. They even dressed alike and ate the same type of food and listened to identical music. The attraction was there equally. But the girl I was dating said, "Think of us as two dishes of identical ice cream. You can stick your spoon into one, but not both." The rule about sticking your spoon into one doesn't follow at all from that situation with the ice cream. Miso has an identical twin. I'm not attracted to the twin at all. They look very much alike but they have very different personalities and style. It helps that they were raised as separate individuals. Never wore the same clothes for example. The twin sister was a bitch. It was a huge turn off. I just reminded myself that I already knew what she looked like naked. I dated a twin. I never messed them up, which was good. But there was this one time my girlfriend asked me if I wanted to play a game. I said sure. She showed me a bunch of old pictures of her and her twin sister and asked me to figure out which she was. I'm thinking, fuck, I better know. This is probably a test, but I ended up getting really lucky because she seemed to almost always be the one in pink or the one on the left lol. I asked her if she could tell, and she said no, she just memorized where she was. If it was her first time seeing them, she never would have been able to guess correctly each time. IDK what kind of chance she thought I had or if she just wanted me to suffer. Luckily I was pretty good at the game lol. I once dated an identical twin. I'm a girl, he was a guy. No, I didn't fancy his brother. Don't know who said it, but I don't love her because she's beautiful. She's beautiful because I love her. Or in this case him. I did get that little skip of the heart in brief moments. I saw his brother and thought it was him, but as soon as I realized completely different personalities. Don't get me wrong, I obviously thought that they were both good looking. But there was no attraction to the twin. At all. Edit. Think I'm the only heterosexual woman in this thread. I am a heterosexual woman with a same-sex twin. I agree with everything you have said. None of my sisters or my partners have been attracted to the other, at all. We may look alike, and have some similar mannerisms and interests, but we are still wildly different. I wonder if this has made me realize looks aren't the most important factor in being attracted to someone. My sister and I also have very, very different taste in men. I'm a woman married to a female twin. Her and her sister do look a lot alike in the face and body wise, but have always had extremely different styles. It's easy to tell them apart because my wife has long, curly natural hair and her twin keeps hers short, plus it's dyed and straightened. The most confusion is when we are together. Not because of the way they look, but because they also happen to have a very similar voice. If we are all hanging out, my wife and I, her sister and her husband, whenever one of the girls says babe, my brother-in-law and I both look. Upon first meeting them, I actually saw the twin I'm not married to first. I thought she was cute, but didn't get gay vibes, so imagine my delight when there was a single, gay replica. Nowadays, they are both still very attractive, but of course my wife is more beautiful to me because I'm in love with not only her looks, but her soul, her personality, and all her little quirks. My delight when there was a single, gay replica. That's one of the oddest and most beautiful things I have ever had the pleasure of reading on Reddit. I hope you two have a very long and very happy life together. My best friend, a dude, had a twin sister that I always had the hots for, but I couldn't bring myself to ask her out because she looked too much like him. It was awkward. A close neighborhood friend of mine had twin sisters growing up. He was a year older than me, them a year younger. The whole crew paid very little attention to them until high school rolls around. They blossomed like a lotus flower. I always knew they were off limits, but one time hanging in his basement another drinking problem, friend started blabbering about how he was going to get with them, and my other friend, who I think was also drunk, but not as much so, freaked out, punched a hole in the wall and dared him to say that again. He did, and promptly received a couple hooks to the face. I dated a twin when I was younger. She presented herself much differently than her sister, so it wasn't usually a problem. My GF had long dark hair and dressed like a hippie. Her twin had short red hair and dressed a little girlier. Both were gorgeous, but I was much more attracted to my GF than her sister, so I was never conflicted. Anyway, one night my GF comes out to meet me. It's dark. She's wearing a hoodie. I put my hands on her hips and go in for the hello smooch, and she just dies laughing. I'm not XXX, Dumbus, my GF's twin says. We got along well, so there was no drama, just laughs, including from my GF and her twin's BF. I've only dated one guy who was an identical twin and I almost slept with his brother. Story time. The first time Jim and I hooked up we were both tipsy and I wasn't familiar yet with the layout of his house. It was a small one-story house with a kitchen living room on one end, and 3 bedrooms with a bathroom on the other. From left to right it was the bathroom, his mother's room, his room and then his brother's. I got up to pee and this is where the fuck up happens. I couldn't see that well in the dark hallway and being that their rooms are right next to each other I got confused and went into the brother's room. I lay down next to him, naked, and he starts getting all handsy and I am like, okay round 2. He was on autopilot being half asleep when all of a sudden I made a reference to something. I can't recall what it was, and it seemed to snap him out of it. Wait, are you looking for Jim? Yes. Wait, is this Nick? We both proceed to laugh at the awkwardness and I found my way back into my BF's room. His bro ended up telling him about it and he was surprisingly okay. What I didn't know at the time it happened was that Nick had a GF who looked similar to me and in his slumber he just assumed I was her. He actually told her to and she was also surprisingly cool with it. So yes, I was attracted to them both at first and almost slept with them both on the same night, but their personalities changed the way I looked at them individually as time went on. Autopilot. My girlfriend thinks it's so funny when I am asleep and starting making out with her. Usually I'm dreaming of her and then wake up to us having sex. Sometimes I'm not even dreaming and come to with one of us on top of the other. She likes to make fun of me about it and I would get mad. Boo-hoo-hoo, but I do get to have sex so I can look past it. Currently dating a twin who lives with his twin brother. I'm not attracted to his brother and I'm not really sure why. They're very similar in personality and interests. His brother's girlfriend, however, has been weird jealous about me dating her boyfriend's twin from the start. Currently an identical twin in a relationship. GF knew my brother long before me, and he just wasn't a type. Saw me and was immediately interested. Our style and personality is pretty different, and we have a few key physical differences. Hairstyle, faces are a little different, weight in different places. I was her type, he wasn't. One of the reasons we broke up was she had a I'm not my sister complex. No shit. I'm not dating your sister, I'm dating you. But heaven knows I'm not the one that put that idea in your head and nothing I say will ever get it out. I think she got over it now by living in a different state house than her twin. To all of the people saying that the other twin was a jerk, let me shed some light. Sometimes guys will be standoffish to their brother or friend's significant other so that they aren't perceived as being competition for said mate. Probably doubly so for twins where attractiveness is equal. It's just a way of keeping a relationship out of the way of friendship or family. I dated a girl with a twin for a very short period without knowing she had a twin sister. They both went to the university and I cannot find one difference between the two. I saw her sister and started talking to her. First conversation was random and she was nice, so we kept talking. Then I asked her if she wanted to do something again that night. Apparently I'd mistaken her for her twin sister. I actually thought it was a joke. Then I saw both of them together and the only differences were their clothes. They both hate me now because in a drunken game of truth or dare I was asked would you have a three-way with them? And I, thinking this was a trap, said no. The one I'm dating is prettier than her sister. I meant this as a joke, but her sister took it as a huge insult. I pointed out that they are both equally as pretty because they are physically identical. Big mistake. Now I offended both of them because after a week of dating and knowing her sister for 2 days I didn't see all of the minute differences. There are none. Clarification. I wasn't being offered a threesome. I was being asked if I would do it. If they actually were, then I made the biggest mistake in my life. Dated a very beautiful German girl for 3 years who had a very beautiful twin sister. The sister and I always flirted, never bothered my girlfriend. We'd all cuddle on the couch and were okay being quasi-nude around each other. Yeah, needless to say I thought about the options the situation presented, but I never pushed it. Was happy with the situation I had. Turned out they were both crazy. Now happily dating a cool-headed Russian with no twin. Worth it. I tend to get love tunnel vision when I'm into someone, so I haven't had this problem. They both had very different personalities which made it easy to tell them apart. Sadly the twist is his twin liked me. I had to explain about my love tunnel vision and that it only works for that one person and not anyone who looks like that person. It was not a fun conversation, but he was cool and mature about it. I dated one for a couple years with lots of off and on. Later realized that I had more in common with her twin, and dated her in secret for about 6 months. The whole experience was very heartbreaking for both of us. I really cared for her and the original twin I dated, but we feared what family might think and especially how her sister would feel. It ended up going nowhere, but she was 100% marriage material. She's dating someone right now and seems really happy. I'm really happy for her. Was in relationship with one. She got pissy one night and broke up with me. Her sister came home from theirs with me. Drunkenly banged her. Got back together with first twin. Didn't work out. Happy ever after. One I can answer. Not attracted to her. Facial features are the same, but her sister is a little princess that complains about absolutely everything, and my GF is the most humble, hard worker, and she deadlifts 345 at 120 BW, so you know she got that booty. How do you cope? They are identical. Just pretend you're fucking the sister. Done. Yes, I'm sexually attracted to both, but I only love one. Don't know how to handle it other than using it to jerk off to. I've seen her sister basically naked before. I don't see the problem with this, and I think the whole issue of partners being attracted to other people is overstated for jokes. It's obvious that no one just stops finding other people attractive when they enter a relationship, but we're supposed to pretend that it's true. What number? We should just learn to accept that there is a huge difference between finding someone attractive and doing anything with them. If we are to believe that our partners don't find others attractive, then we're also accepting that it doesn't take any kind of discipline, responsibility or commitment to stay in the relationship. How sweet. I mean, why wouldn't you be attracted to them? Shit, just cause you're dating someone doesn't mean you're magically not attracted to people. Just don't fuck other people. It's not that hard. Jesus. Just don't fuck other people. It's not that hard. Jesus. Tell that to my ex. I used to date a girl with a twin, like both of them were 10/10. The threesome question was always on my mind, and one day I got drunk enough to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. Turns out she was down for it, and her twin was an all-around great guy. My GF is an identical twin. I was at first worried about getting the two mixed up, but their personalities are different enough from each other's to tell. It also helps that her sister still smokes cigarettes, so her voice is a bit more raspy. It's fun to make jokes to her sister about knowing what she looks like naked, and talking about being in bed with a set of twins, after laying down next to my girl while they are both laying down on the bed. Came here to say I'm a same-sex twin. Luckily I date a lovely woman who I've been with for years. My sister has been dating a long string of assholes, and pro tip, it's pretty fucking obvious when you're scoping me out trying to see if I'm down for a threesome with my sister. I dated 2 separate twins. One was a casual encounter for a few months in between semesters at college. Nothing strange happened there. Most of the time we never saw the other twin. The second set of twins was an interesting occurrence. They were really close sisters, but the one I was dating had a pixie cut and the other twin had long hair. They looked identical otherwise. Anyways, they were really close and liked to joke around, so one night we ended up playing a game of Are You Nervous? But my hands ended up on the twin I wasn't dating. Neither twin disputed it, so I ended up getting handfuls of both twins' boobies and such without issue. All in all, it was pretty neat. 10/10 would do a game but not date again. Homegirl was crazy. Not dating but am a twin, and after doing something really stupid with a girl my brother was seeing, I can definitely say that sometimes people are attracted to the twin as well and don't always cope with it ideally. Well, my wife is attractive, her twin is a fat cow. Kinda hard to get them confused. No problems. Also, just goes to show how eating right and exercising gave more of an effect than my genetics.